You're listening to the Bathtub Refinishing Podcast. Powered by BathTubGuys Refinishing. We discuss the refinishing industry, interview owners and operators, and give tips to business owners and entrepreneurs. Now, here's your host, Daniel Montalvo.
Hell yeah. No, all right, guys, we're back here. Continuing the conversation with Carlos, which has been cool because we've been talking off air and then like jumping back into it.
Where we're like, wait, let's just talk it in the air because it's too good to pass up.
Yeah. So we were talking about, right now, you were talking a little bit about this guy in these groups doing tubs for $150, which is always fun. You know, there's always some people like that.
It's interesting to say the least.
Yeah. I wanted to touch base though on, the importance of branding, which I've talked about before, but there's a guy in the groups named Brett Gammons, I believe.
Okay.
And his company's called Miraculous Makeovers.
Oh, okay.
He's always talking about branding. That guy, I asked him to come on the podcast. He said he would, by the way. So that's exciting.
Shout out, Brett.
Yeah. He has the right idea about branding. And, you know, I think kind of the thing that we were talking about the other day, which I'm going to touch base on it, might be a little controversial, but we're going to talk about it. It calls out some people in the groups. But I think he kind of gets upset with what I got upset about that day that I was telling you about, people saying like, look, is it slow for anybody else? And then the other guy jumps in and he says, it's slow down here too. Oh, yeah. Well, at least it's not just me. It's like, oh yeah, that's all it took for you to be like,
reassuring yourself.
Have you ever heard about confirmation bias? Yeah. It's like, I'm not slow. Oh, well, it's because you're in Orlando. No. Come on. Let's keep it real. He made a post, and I think it might have been in reference to that a little bit. Maybe not, but I the way I saw it was like it came after that. So he's like, stop chasing shitty leads, brand yourself.
Yes.
If you're not busy now, be busy next year. Yeah. Work towards that shit. That's how you got to think about it.
Yes, sir.
Branding is something that never stops.
As a matter of fact, it should be evolving every time. Don't ever settle. Yep. If something's good, try and find a way to multiply that. But go ahead.
I want to break down for people who don't understand the difference between a company and a brand.
Yep.
Right? A company is what on paper, the name, the professionalism, all that stuff, right? Because who the fuck would hire you if you weren't a professional?
Exactly.
Like, that is not what branding is. Branding is what differentiates you from the next guy. So everybody in town not every single person, I get it. But everybody in town who's in your market, who's competing with you, right? The guy that company that you know down the street who actually does a good job, and you guys have similar clientele. They're professionals too. So if your only line of defense is, we're the best
professional.
Yeah, we do this professionally, and I'm the best in town. And if you want the best quality, go with me. Oh, well, his stuff's gonna fall off in a year. You sure you want to do? If that's all you're saying, keep in mind they're saying that about you. And the next one, and it just keeps on going. You know what I mean? And it's just ironic because they're all competitively priced and stuff. It's like me and Bath Art here in Orlando, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, I talked to Christian. That's cool. We were just talking about him. But the brand is what differentiates you for real. So what is branding? Branding is your customer service skills. Touches back on that. What the content you post perceives out into the world. Branding is more perception and painting the picture than it is to have a company.
Exactly.
Now, let's dive a little deeper into that. What is painting the picture? When you pick up the phone and they ask you, hey, so I was curious about the process, and you just start going into a spiel that you have written down, and you didn't bother to ask what part of the process. You go into that spiel, you sound like every other jackass in town. You're not listening to them. When you are a fucking brand who knows what you're about, all the stuff about professionalism and stuff, that's baked in. That's inherent. The difference is you're going to listen and you're going to tailor your product and your brand to fit their lifestyle.
Exactly.
And what they're struggling with. So you might go into this big ass spiel about, and we do an asset etch and we do this and this and this. And they might be like, well, actually, I was going to ask you, could you not use an asset etch because I'm kind of concerned. I put new tile down. And now, are they going to trust you if you tell them, look, that's our process, but we could actually just do crosslink only and it's going to be just as effective. Now it just kind of sounds like you're trying to say anything. Trying to say anything to get the sale.
Exactly.
But if you would have listened to them in the beginning, you're like, look, normally we use this, but we actually use this too, and it really doesn't need to be etched. We usually etch out of precaution.
Hey, that worked perfectly.
Yeah, so we actually etch out of precaution, but you don't really need to etch, and if I send you the right tech, we
guarantee the job.
He's going to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And you're going to get that, and you're not. There's not going to be any concern about etch ruining your tile, anything like that. Yeah. But if you never ask the question,
you're not going to know the answer.
And if you come off as a fucking sleazy salesman trying to do anything to get the sale, they're going to call the next guy.
Yeah. Yep. You got to listen to your clients, everybody.
Yep. And it's asking, guiding questions. But go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, I was just going to ask you, because I feel like lately you've been closing a lot more in sales.
Yeah.
That probably has a lot more to do with you actually asking people questions rather than answering them, right?
Yes.
So like you've literally been digging down in the clients and really getting to know the root of why they're calling you. What happened? Is it the color? Is there broken tile? Do you need bonding, chips and tile? A lot of people don't even break down into these things anymore. They're pretty much expecting the same script roll that they're just going to tell you and they told 13 other people. But no, like Daniel actually sits down, takes his time, and he's asking you the questions about, why did you call us? Like what's going down? Is this a flip? Are you leaving in a week? Is this a house you're going to move, that you're moving into, or that you're going to be living for the next 20 years?
I'm so fucking glad.
What matters to you?
I'm so fucking glad you brought that up. Because you were here the other day sitting in on a sales call.
Yep.
You don't think to ask that question before you throw them a number.
Mm-hmm.
If they're flipping a house and they're going to sell it within a year, yes, you deliver quality. But you also, hey, bro, I'll give you a fucking discount.
Give a discount. You can afford to.
Exactly.
In the sense that they're selling it. Mm-hmm. They're selling it.
Your liability is less. We price these things with the understanding that someone might call in 10 years. But if you know for 100% they're not going to, why are you going to sell somebody a diamond who just needs a pearl, bro?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly. They just want something shiny. It doesn't have to be the diamond.
Exactly.
You can help out at that point because you know that you can haggle with it. They're not going to call you back. Mm-hmm. The quality's still going to be there. That's 100%. Like you're still going to deliver that shiny, really shiny tub. It's still going to look super good.
And you still do a good job.
You're not going to skip out on the process. It's not about the process. Mm-hmm. It's about the warranty at that point in time. Mm-hmm. It's about the warranty at that point in time. Nothing else changes.
Yep.
Literally nothing else changes.
And again, you ask the questions because you get to guide the conversation. Too many people find out it's a flip later after they already are teetering on losing the sale. Oh, I don't want to spend that much money because it's a flip. And now you try to be like, well, I could do it for less if you don't want a warranty. What does that sound like to the customer?
Desperation is a stinky cologne.
Yes. And it also just sounds back to the other thing. You're doing anything to get the sale now. Oh, well, why would he lessen the warranty?
You just reverted back to sleazy salesman at that point.
He's going to revert the warranty now because he's going to do a worse job because he knows I'm selling it. But if you guide the question and you're the one telling them, look, I'll be fair. Normally I charge this, but if I don't have to have the liability, I could do it for less. We're still going to deliver you a good job. But you need to lead the conversation there naturally, not pick up the pieces once you already took the L, bro.
Yeah, exactly. That's why asking questions matter. The client isn't going to tell you, I'm flipping this house. I'm going to be gone in a week. They don't do that, especially the home flippers. You know what the home flippers do? They're actually calling everyone just to hear pricing. They don't care. But they will put that attention to detail on the ones that they can sense actually care about the sales process, actually care about what it is that you're looking for. A lot of these people, and I've been dealing with home flippers for the longest time, they're just calling just to hear. All right, hey, how much was it? Okay, perfect, thank you. And they're calling 10 people in that day.
And how do you differentiate yourself? How do you make sure they come out knowing, damn, Bathtub Guys really is the brand, bro?
When you care.
Yeah.
When you care, they're going to be like, damn, okay.
When you care,
this is a different conversation than the last 9 I've had.
Or it's actually a conversation.
Or it's actually a conversation and not just the same repetitiveness that they're listening.
Not just, send me pictures and I'll send you a number.
Yep.
No, that's not how you close jobs at scale, bro.
Yep.
How you close jobs at scale is you fucking go and you say, look, hey, I might be tied up right now. Let me call you back in about an hour and I'll explain to you what we do. Some of these people, like, they just look, and I'm guilty of it sometimes too. We're fast paced. Sometimes we got to do it like that.
I was just going to bring it up, but I lost a bid to Bathtub Guys because I did that. I didn't bother with a lot of things. It was just a quick 1-2. I'm trying to answer questions. Next thing I know, after I've talked to this client who's a home flipper, Daniel's like, hey, I locked down this tub, sends me the photos, and I'm like, well, I'll be fucking damned. I just lost that job to you.
And I had a conversation with him.
Anything. I asked for photos. I didn't get. I was, for whatever reason, busy at that moment. I didn't bother to call him. I missed my steps, which normally I'm very precautious about. Missed it, and sure enough, who did it go to? I still ended up with a job. But it wasn't my job at that point in time anymore. And it's funny. I got to laugh at that point. And I told you, I was like, yo, dude, I literally just lost this job to you.
Yep.
Literally. And it still ended up at me. So that was a lesson learned for me. But it was a lesson learned in the sense that even for 1 second, even for one phone call, don't skip out on these questions. Don't skip out on the important parts of it because you will get burned.
And you need to learn and practice. Look, there's a YouTube channel called The Contractor Fight. A gentleman runs it named Tom Reber.
Okay.
And he pushes a sales program called Shin Fu. It is basically how you deal with people's common objections. If you can get through the objection, what's the most common objection? Might be, hey, I got to talk to my husband about it. If you can get over that, the chance of you closing that sale might have been 25. It's probably 50 if you can get over that.
Oh, yeah.
And then jumps up to 25 if you can get over we just really don't have the money for that.
Oh, yeah.
If you can get over that objection, now your chances are really high to close this thing. And dealing with the money objection isn't always, I'll give you a discount. No. Ask questions. I'll jump into that in a little bit. But that job in particular, that gentleman was so impressed by me asking him questions. He asked me out on a date.
Did he really?
He was like, hey, come have coffee. I'm a house flipper, and I need someone who's going to do this all the time. Because I asked him, I'm like, what are you doing with this house? He's like, nobody's asked me that.
That's funny.
And I asked him what he was doing with the house because I was like, look, like, I'm going to do it for you for $800. For a bathroom like that, how I charge. Yeah. It had to be stripped. But I was like, I'll do it for $800 because you're selling the place. I don't have to worry about it in a year. But I guided the conversation there. Yeah. It didn't come after. When it comes after, it just feels like damage control. It feels like you're trying to kiss his ass to give you the fucking job, bro.
Because it came after, I didn't even try. I didn't even try pursuing it at that point.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was going to sound desperate. That's something I don't want.
Exactly.
I don't want the
and the thing is,
part.
we know when we take the L. Mm-hmm. And there's a way to recover from it. But the recovery... a couple things have to align for you to recover from that, taking that L.
Yep.
But, bro, the way you get these questions, like branding 101 is like, you're going to make them talk to Bathtub Guys, talk to your company, talk to 8 Kings longer than they talk to everybody else.
Yep.
What does that do? They get to know you.
They start getting familiarized with you.
Yes. How many times, bro? And when I'm in these conversations, I get what was your name again? A bunch of times. And then next
that's
time,
because you're genuinely interested at that point.
And then they're interested because you're not just trying to sell them. You're trying to really see if you could even really offer them a solution. Mm-hmm. Because look, let's be real. If you start the conversation, you're like, you get to the money talk. And they're like, I'm really on a tight budget. I can only do this $500 for a tub and towel. Well, then you end the conversation. Like, why would you want even to send your quote with all the bells and whistles? But if you know he's not in the budget for that,
Yep.
You're wasting your time.
Yep.
So, look, the way I like to think of it, and this is what they teach in Shinfu, which I actually bought the course. If you want, I can share it with you too. It's going to help you with sales, but it teaches you how to unravel these conversations. They call it peeling back layers. So whenever they say something, you got to know how to retaliate. So like they'll ask, like, you know, how much does it cost? Well, you know, typically, you know, I could give you a range if I understood a little bit more about the situation. That's when and before you even give them a chance to talk, you ask them a question. So what are you guys doing with this house? Is this something that you guys are going to sell? Are you guys going to live here? Okay, we're going to live here. Now you check.
Quality matters now.
Exactly. Quality matters now. The warranty matters.
Warranty matters.
You know that the conversation needs to go this way because this is something that they're going to want to last for a long, long time. And also you start getting the gears going in your head. Who am I going to send to this? And how long should we take on it?
Exactly.
And all of those things. You know, okay, so what color were you thinking about of this? Oh, I really wanted something like gray. Now you know. Before you send a bid and then after you're like, hey, we charge more for colors. Now you know. Just bake it into the fucking thing. They want it gray.
Yeah.
And if they say something about it after the fact, that's fine. But you're getting these ideas going. And then, okay, you know, get to the point where everything's good. They're liking the conversation where it's going. And you know, all right, well, you know, I'm going to send you a quote written, but like, would you be comfortable talking about how much something like this might cost? They're always going to say yes. If it's the right person on the phone, right?
Yeah.
But 90% of the time, they're going to say yes. Okay. So something like this, look, like, we can charge, you know, something like this based off of what it is. It's typically like $750. Maybe it might be $850. It just depends. But how does that sound to you? You give them a high and a low range, even though you know more or less where you're going to be on it. But obviously, you want to leave a little bit of room sometimes until after you've seen the pictures, all these things, so you can adjust.
Yeah.
But you know, at this point, they're just describing it to you, and they're always thinking the low end or in the mid tier. That high end is kind of reserved for something a little extreme, right? But if they're cool with that range, now you got some numbers to play with, right? $850, you know in your head what that $850 it costs, right? It's something that might be bigger, need a little bit more work, condition wise, whatever. Now, if you see it's something basic, you're not going to go down to $650. You're going to be at $750.
Yeah.
And that's in the middle. It's to them, it's going to be like, oh, well, it could have been $850, $750. We're getting a deal.
Yeah.
And this person talked to me, and it's good. It's everything that I want.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very hard for them to say no. Then later, how do you handle the money objection? Okay, let's say that price range doesn't work. And they're like, oh, it's so expensive. Mirror them. Expensive. Yeah, you know, because I got it done 5 years ago, and like, it was like $500.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah. And how do you overcome that? Well, when you got it done 5 years ago, out of curiosity, you know, is this the same bathroom we're talking about? Well, yeah. Well, you know, for $500, it lasted, some time, but wouldn't you like something that might last a little bit longer? You're putting it in their court, bro.
Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah. I mean, look, and if they say, you know, you got to let them talk. Keep quiet. If they say yes. If they're like, you know, well, I'm cool with it lasting 5 years, then you say, well, look, in an ideal world, if you paid $200, $300 extra and you got twice the amount of time out of it, wouldn't you be happy?
Wouldn't it make more sense?
Guiding questions.
Yep.
You're making them think all these things out. Like, they cannot be reactionary,
and they're gonna answer you honestly,
and they are, and because look, when you
they're gonna be like, listen, I'll be honest with you, I don't care about the extra $200-300. If it lasts me another 5 years, great.
Yeah, and then okay, cool. Then I can adjust, or I could just this person's not for me. They don't qualify for what I'm providing.
Exactly.
Look, people need to get this shit out of their head that like sales is this arbitrary thing. It is very much whoever's listening the most, bro.
Exactly.
Branding speaks to people, and it starts at the conversation after the sales. Like, you already closed this person, you got over all these objections. You need to make sure that you lay out to them what happens next, and you're upfront about it.
Yeah.
Because people start to think people are sketchy. The moment you're not on the phone with them anymore, it's just text. And there's no emotion on text messages.
It's literally black and white.
They're like, hey, look, so, okay, you answered all my questions. I think we're going to go with you. And you're like, great. I'm going to send you the bid, and then you hang up. No. You say, okay, so here's what happens next. If you want to proceed, Crystal's going to give you a call. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a payment method on file. If you prefer, we can text you a link, or you could do it like that. Prove the quote through the link, and then we're good to go. And then Crystal will give you a call to schedule the job. Choose a date and time. We're going to send you a confirmation text that has the time frame. It's going to send you a reminder the day before, how to prep the bathroom, all these things that they like to hear.
Yeah.
So that they're not asking you, hey, are we still on for Monday?
You got to woo it to them.
Exactly.
You got to basically, like, if they're already calling you, they just need to be convinced.
They
already want the job.
How much more convincing is it after you spent a little time, 10, 15-minute phone call? Yes, sounds like a long time. It's not. It passes by like this.
It's not.
10, 15 minutes of your time to secure $800, $900 job. And then on top of it, they're already sold, but you're still providing that value.
Yeah.
Don't worry about calling us a day before to make sure you're going to get a text. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Time frame is going to be on that text message, so look out for it. Crystal is going to call you. Not some random person from Bathtub Guys. Look out, because Crystal's going to call you, and she's going to schedule it from there. Yeah. If you don't want to bother going online, you can have her collect a $1 deposit there to hold your card on file and just book it right there, get everything out of the way. But you're setting those expectations. When the texts arrive, what does it look like? That's when you break into the boring spiel. Yep. That's when you say, look, the guys are going to get there. They're going to...
This is what he's going to do.
Yeah, they're going to prep.
This is how long it's going to be.
Exactly. 4 to 6 hours.
Exactly.
This is how long it's going to take to dry. After that, we send you your warranty. Bro, you're painting the picture in their head. Yeah. And what that does, what you never want to do as an artist is leave a painting unfinished. Yeah. This is the difference maker. You paint the complete picture from start to finish, what it's going to look like. Yeah. Now, how detailed you want to get into it is up to you, but just make sure that the beginning has an end. Once the job is done and you love it, we're going to go ahead and we're going to send you your warranty sheet, and we're going to send you a link to write us a review, because we know you're going to love it. Yep. And in their head, they're seeing these things play out as you're explaining it.
All you're doing is giving them the words, and they're seeing it in their heads.
Yeah, and they start to really think like, this is going to be great. This is going to be amazing. They get excited. Yeah. And that's what you want.
We literally just did a client a couple days ago that you sold on to, and everything, you sold her on something so good that when my tech said something wrong, she's like, wait a minute, this isn't what I heard. And I needed to intervene. Mm-hmm. Like, I needed to talk to her. And after I talked to her, she was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. But she was so sold into the dream that even if one word was mistakenly said wrong, and it was mistaken because obviously my tech's not trying to screw anything up, she was so sold into what was already dreamed to her that if she heard one word wrong, she didn't like it, and we needed to call her and reassure her. And we did, and she was fine, and she was so perfectly fine that she called me afterwards and she did the payment and everything. But that's how much it matters to sell that dream to the client. Mm-hmm. How good it is to give that picture with no doubts. She has nothing to ask for anymore, because everything before she even, you got to anticipate these questions. Yep. Before they even ask it.
We know what they are.
You already know what they are. You got to pretend like you are the client, and just literally whatever questions you come up with, answer them before the client even asks. And look, they're going to be grateful.
Yeah, they are. And let's be real. There's people out there who are going to listen to this like, I don't know what the questions are. What are the questions, Carlos?
It comes with experience.
Like,
it really does.
But like, let's be real. What are the questions? It's the same.
The same thing every time.
Or the objections, right?
Yeah.
What are the objections? The objections
are usually pricing or like what's going on with material or the process.
My wife.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to talk to my husband.
Exactly. The spouse. It's almost.
We're renovating the bathroom.
Yeah.
So time framing.
Yeah.
Or I need it last minute, and at that point,
and I need it ASAP.
These are all things that you need to be asking. You need to be getting these things out of them, because
that's when the ball's in your park at that point.
Because
on that last
you
one.
know how to steer the conversation. Yeah. I remember, this is something my dad used to do, and I did not like it ever, and I would never do it, even if I'm booked like right now. We're booking jobs for early February. I will never call a customer and be like, or a customer calls me and I'm like, hey, just so that you know, before they've even spoken, just so that you know, we're booked out for a month.
That's a turnoff.
The turnoff.
That's a turnoff.
Is that if there's someone who really needs it last minute,
you've just shut them down.
You can make it work.
There's an opportunity right there for it to be better.
Well, here's the thing. A person who needs it last minute is willing to pay more.
Exactly.
Usually.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's an opportunity.
So what do? Okay, maybe hey, how about instead of doing that job start to finish today, Ralph, Tyler, whoever, I want you to go prep that for him while you're working on that and spray it. You go spray it. Or you tell the client, look, your deadline is the 25th. I'm going to have someone come in and prep it on the 23rd. And on the 24th, it'll get sprayed. Done deal. We'll get that shit done for you. Because you're paying more, I could pay 2 people to do this thing.
Exactly.
But you need the context. Without context, you're selling to the fucking black abyss, bro. You're selling to nothing.
You're selling a script. That script doesn't work for everybody.
No.
You have to mold yourself into every individual client. It's not a one size fits all sort of ordeal.
I guarantee you, the ones who it is working with, it's not the script that's working. It is the branding, the stuff that you do on social media,
absolutely,
what you talk about. It's things that you've done that they've spoken to them. If there's somebody that's a referral, that speaks to people. Like, my friend had a good experience, I'm gonna have a good one.
Exactly.
The having the script is that shit almost never works. It's that they've seen your reviews, all these things that speak about you, that speak to something that might be one of their insecurities. Let's say like they really are really concerned about changing the color. They have a black tub and they're really concerned about, well, how's it gonna look white? And you have a review on your Google page and they put pictures of changing a black tub to white and it looks beautiful. You can give them a boring ass spiel, but that branding spoke to the customer already for you.
Before they even called you.
Exactly.
It was already sold.
Exactly. So these are all things that go hand in hand. But I'm talking about when you get that new customer, the ones that aren't that low hanging fruit that are easy to get, you need to peel back. And if you don't do it, you're doing yourself a disservice. Also, if you peel back, it opens the door for you to upsell without upselling. We're really looking to do our tub because we're thinking about tearing down the walls. Well, why are you thinking about tearing down the walls? I hate this beige color. I hate it so much. I'm actually just going to put the same 3x3 subway tile.
Well, if you didn't know, we actually can paint those also.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you could reglaze tile. I never heard of that. Oh yeah. And there, bro, you're selling without selling.
Yeah.
Because you asked the fucking right questions.
It's a missed opportunity, guys. Don't let that slip you, because that's, at the end, you're leaving money at the table if you're not doing that.
And look, trust me, bro, it feels awkward to ask. That's why sometimes when I ask the guiding question, especially when I see a tub that looks like it's been through the ringer, I'll ask hey, so out of curiosity, why are you getting it done? Is it just the condition or the color? I'll start throwing little hints in there because obviously they're getting it done because of how it looks.
Exactly.
Right? But usually you listen and they start talking about that and that. And also, I really just we're renovating the bathroom. We're doing all these other things. They'll throw other things in there.
We're changing the vanity and we're going to change the top.
Yeah.
You also refinish tops.
Yeah.
You also refinish vanities.
And you don't just go in we do that too. The way you do it is Oh, okay. You're replacing the vanities? Yeah, we're replacing them. And so why are you guys replacing them? Oh, well, really it's mostly because they're like beige and like we want them white. Hey, we actually reglaze those so that Yeah. Oh, really? And it's going to cost you a heck of a lot less than
to replace than it is just to refinish.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And you're always coming at the sale. When you do this shit correctly,
it's flawless. It just flows.
Exactly.
It flows.
You're always coming at it also from leverage.
Yep.
Because you're not ever sounding desperate.
You're not looking for the sale. You're looking for questions that the client is going to be inclined to bring up.
Addressing their concerns.
Exactly. And I got it. Again, I get a lot. I get subbed a lot of these works for Bathtub Guys. I leave Bathtub Guys jobs with a backsplash or a cabinet refinishing all the time because I happen to be asking these questions when I walk in the door.
And sometimes it's things that I don't do, and I tell them, take them, man. Or like sometimes we're just busy.
Yeah.
It happens. Also, sometimes they slip through the cracks. Like, I'm not perfect, but look, every single lead that comes into Bathtub Guys, I talk to. Crystal answers the phone. She gets the information, and I call them one by one. Today, I called 25 people.
Whoa. Holy shit.
And my job is to
siphon through the
follow up the ones, bro. I got 2 jobs while we were sitting here, but the new leads, my job is to see who's serious, who wants to sit down for a conversation. Right? Those people are really likely to convert. The ones who don't, usually I'll give them a chance to start a conversation. If not, I'm assuming, okay, maybe they just want a price and then talk about it. And usually I'll send them a price, and if they're into it, then they'll engage and be like, yeah, I'm open to have a conversation. And then it's kind of doing it in backwards, because then you're not bringing up like, hey, how much something like this would cost. But this is how you handle that, right? Let's say somebody really doesn't want to talk to you unless they see the number. Then they're suddenly interested. When you call them, you say, look, you asked us for a quote on your tub and all this. I'm assuming the price, what was relatively in your ballpark, considering, we're having this conversation now, right? And usually they'll be like, yeah. The price was good. Or they'll be like, yeah, it's a little bit higher than I expected, but, I think we can make it work. And then now you know where to guide the conversation.
Exactly.
If the price was right around where they were thinking, next thing is, okay, so how do you want to proceed? Well, we're doing a couple of things, or, hey, we're ready to schedule.
Yep.
And then you lead the conversation there. If they're like, it's a little bit higher, what were you really expecting? Well, we were expecting this, and this, and that's your chance to provide the value. Well, we are a little bit more expensive. We hear that from time to time, but we include this that these people usually don't. Or our warranty, part of the reason we charge more
matters. We got lifetime warranty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And or you could also come at it from this angle. Well, out of curiosity, you saying it's a little bit more than expected. Is this a place you're planning to live, or is it a place you're planning to sell? They might hit you with I'm flipping it. Oh man, should have told me that before. Look, here's what I'll do for you.
Yeah.
Here, I'll do it for, instead of $650, I'll do it for $600 even. And whenever you have another flip, you let me know. Now I know that you're flipping houses, because you're not going to need the lifetime warranty. I mean, I'd be more than happy to give it to you, but if you're going to sell the place, it's less liability for us. Also,
you could play it in. The beautiful thing about this, you could play it with a bunch of different scenarios. You could necessarily, you could bring down the price in negotiation with the client. You're like, hey, you know what? I'm willing to go down $50.
Yep.
Once the job is done, and I know you're going to love it, I need a 5-star review on my Facebook, Google, and Instagram. Or would you mind standing next to me, next to the tub, and doing a little quick 5-minute video about how was your expectations, and did we meet them?
Yep.
I'm trying that every job now, literally. Even for your jobs, I'm literally doing that.
That's
with
beautiful.
Clients.
And that, I've told people to do that before, but I'm glad you brought it up. So in that conversation, in this scenario where they say, hey, the price is a little bit more than I expected. Well, listen, man, how about $25 off if you write me a really good review?
Boom.
And that
they are going to, first off, to them, leaving a review is nothing. So they're going to be like, what? All I got to do is leave a review and I get $25. Yep. You're winning them over. Yep. You're literally winning them over. They're more than willing to bend backwards for you at that point.
Exactly.
I went to a job. Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah,
mean to
you're
cut you
good. You're
off. I went to a job site yesterday, and I locked down this job. And mind you, I was there for 2 hours.
Yep.
I only was there for 10 minutes of the estimate. The rest of the 2 hours, I was just talking to the clients. I was referred. I came highly recommended. This is a cabinet job, not a tub job. And I was just there talking with the clients. The job, it was sold when she hit me up. Mm-hmm. She already knew she was going to go with me. I probably should have even priced it higher because I'm pretty sure they would have said yes. But I got low overhead. I know my numbers very well to the point where I know where to play them. And I still threw it at her. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go down on so-and-so price so long as you're going to leave me a good review on Google, Facebook, Instagram, and you get to just stand after we're done with the cabinets. You just stand with me here 5 minutes, and we go over the process. Is that good with you? She was ecstatic. I was already going to do that, but now it's even better. I'm telling you, that matters.
We got to stop thinking in 2 dimensions and start thinking in 3 and 4D, bro.
Oh, yes.
Stop thinking about just closing the fucking sale. Because if you don't hear somebody... Look, this is an old saying. I don't know where the fuck I heard it. But if somebody pulls up to the BMW lot and you're trying to sell them a Mercedes, it's not happening. Right?
Exactly.
If someone has a Honda Civic budget and they go to the Lamborghini dealership, you're not helping them by entertaining that. Right? Exactly. So context is important. Context is important. Where you advertise, how the ads are made, how you interact with clients, how they interact with you, the expectation of the job, of the process, of the outcome, of the follow-up, of the follow-through. You need to be doing all these things. Yeah. That's how you build trust. If you leave them in the dark even a little bit, you did not paint the full picture.
Yeah. And that's what we got to do, guys. And that's what this podcast is about. We need to get together. We need to talk all these things out. That's why we're talking it out right now. This isn't for us. We already know this. Mm-hmm. This is for us to share the information that we already have, that we know has been working since 93, for me at 2016, with the ups and downs and everything. We already know this stuff. We're doing this for you guys, and hopefully we all get on the same page because, like I said earlier, high tide rises all ships. And if we can all get to that happy medium where we're in a good competitive pricing and we all have our niche is nice and tight as far as what we're selling, what we're asking. Guys, price isn't going to be an issue after a while. It's just how good are you selling at that point? Because the quality is already there. We're all doing the good quality, obviously. It's so that we can learn to sell, guys. It really does matter. And so does branding. That's why he keeps on talking about it. Branding is everything.
It's a culmination of all these things we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You having that conversation with them is branding.
Yep.
Your brand is you don't just shoot out numbers.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to talk to you and find out why you want this project.
Oh, yeah.
What about that tub is pissing you off, and what ideally is it going to look like when we're done?
Oh, yeah.
And you're painting that fucking picture in their head to where there's not going to be any question as to what to do with it. Oh, yeah. When somebody, if the budget is right and you paint the right picture, this is why giant companies put out these big commercials, right? They got the guy in the fucking nice car with the red interior in the dead of the night racing down the fucking highway. And for the person with the budget who that spoke to, nothing's going to get that commercial out of their head and make them go with a Honda versus that Lambo, bro. Nothing's going to do it. Because if you are the Lamborghini of your thing, if you are the top tier, if you are the 5-star service and you're able to illustrate that to them, why would they go with something else if it's in their budget?
You've already sold them on that.
Exactly. And look, I'm going to end it with this point, and we'll just go back and forth a little bit on this. But look, there's one thing I've learned is that buyers are liars. Yeah. I've talked about this before, and I'm going to pose the question to everybody watching this.
Yep.
Who are the types of people who buy home services? It's not broke people. I've been broke. You've been broke.
Yeah.
Do you call people to fix shit in your house?
Nope.
No.
Not when I'm broke.
Not when I'm broke. Me neither.
Yep.
You go and you figure it out and you watch YouTube videos and all this other shit.
Yeah.
Now, with necessity things like plumbing, shit like that, sometimes you got to do it. But for cosmetic stuff, we're slapping paint on it, papa. That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
Like, when you're broke, you're not buying home services.
You're not thinking of these things. Exactly.
So, when I say buyers are liars, it's that they'll say they could only afford $400.
You didn't sell the job good.
You didn't sell the job good enough. You didn't provide the value for them to think about spending $600 instead of $400.
Exactly.
And listen, if you really believe that buyers aren't lying to you, who in their right mind would spend their last $400 on reglazing a bathtub?
When there's a bunch of other things that are more important.
Exactly. Now, do they only want to spend $400? Yes. Why? Because, and then that's your job. You call them and you say, look.
You're reiterating now.
Exactly. Now you go and you do the process. Hey, why do you only want to spend $400?
Your brand.
I read online that, that's what this should cost. Where would you read that? Well, I read that on Better Homes and Gardens. That's based off of the national averages. And Orlando's a pretty competitive market, blah, blah. And then so like, it's just a place that you're living or selling. Start guiding the conversation.
Yep.
Bada bing, bro. You might be able to do it for $400. Well, if they're selling the place.
Work with them, man. Work with them. Sometimes we have to work with those numbers. Why am I going to let a couple $100 slip through my fingers, especially if it's within the margins? Mm-hmm. If it works with you, it works with you, the materials, it takes care of your guys, it takes care of you, and you're still bringing money to the bank. Mm-hmm. Guys, it's not just, again, that's where you start flipping things. You're just listening. You don't panic. Now that's when you're starting to offer, okay, well, you know what? I'm willing to go down on price.
Yeah.
How about when I know you love it, I need a review on this swing, Y and Z, blah, blah, blah.
Let me say this. Look, we all do work, commercial and residential for the most part, right? We will give a hotel a demo for free.
Yep.
With hopes of getting future work.
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, when we get the future work, we also heavily discount the job. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the warranty isn't as long on a hotel than it is in a house and blah, blah, blah. These people usually take 30 days to pay. If you're charging like $500 and somebody says, I only want to pay $400, and you automatically tell them no, you are a shit salesman.
Yeah, man, you gotta work with that. You gotta work with the clients.
Yeah.
You gotta talk.
Well, you gotta
your
talk.
way out of
Look, you gotta talk your way out of it. If it's somebody who's gonna live there and you know that the liability is gonna be there and all this, well then that's what you start painting the picture as. Well, if you really want something that's gonna last and you really want this really good warranty that we offer,
you gotta paint that quality.
Exactly.
You gotta paint that quality.
And then you could be like, look, we could do $450. I get it. 500 might be a little too much, and they're going to go for it. And then on the flip side, if you find out that they're just flipping it, you do it for a hotel.
Work out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you do it for a house flipper?
Exactly.
But the crime is not listening, and that's what this podcast was about today.
Exactly.
Branding is so many things, but your sales process is part of your brand, and if you don't have one, get one.
Exactly.
Yep.
So guys, listen. Work with it. Remember, it's not a one-size-fits-all. Every client has different needs, different issues, different price margins. You got to put all these things in consideration. If you really want to... Listen, I understand. Sometimes you think sales part is the crappiest part out of owning a business, and I get it. But you're only as strong as your weakest link. Make that your best tribute. Make that the best thing. Work on it. For 2024, if you think that you suck at selling, that's fine. You can think that all you like, but do something about it.
Yep.
Literally. If you're not getting an estimate or two a day, you're not doing it right, and you need to figure it out. And you need to talk. I get it. Talking with people, especially talking with strangers, getting money from strangers and how to convince strangers to give you money, that's an odd task. It's not a task everybody can do, but it's definitely a task everybody can achieve. All you have to do is practice it every day. Every day. Mm-hmm. Aim to at least get an estimate or two. I promise you by the end of the week, you're going to be selling. Yep. You're going to be selling. Practice. Talk to a client. Forget about the selling process. Just get familiarized with them. Yep. Just get familiarized with them, and I promise it's going to be good, guys.
And for a lot of people out there, man, look, You guys aren't me. If I was not busy in January this year, I would be doing everything in my fucking power to be busy next January.
Exactly.
Like this thing that people do,
and there's a lot of people under his belt that he needs to make sure like people are busy.
Exactly, bro. Like me personally, I would never just settle for, oh well, that guy's not busy, so
all right,
I guess it's okay. And look, I get it. Not everybody's high volume and doing a lot of stuff. By the way, high volume does not mean you do bad quality. I hate that fucking correlation.
The
that
terminology with it.
People, oh, you're doing high volume, so I'm guessing. No, bro, it doesn't mean anything. But still, look, like, this is the point. If you're slow and you're not asking yourself why, you're not going to be in business long enough to find out the answer. And I'm going to end it there.
Exactly. And to piggyback off of that also, you put yourself in that bracket. If you get a lot of cheap sales, your branding is wrong, especially if you want to aim for the high sellers. You need to rebrand yourself. And that's where it's at. If you're only getting cheap people calling you, there's something about your branding that you're doing wrong, and you need to fix that. Because that's also what keeps people out of business. That's what gets people out of business. But awesome podcast today. That was really, really good. We talked a lot about a lot of good stuff today.
We're gonna have a really interesting one coming up soon with another refinisher, and it's gonna be 4 people on the panel this time, which is gonna be good.
Oh yeah, I got to learn to shut up on that. Actually, that's the day after my birthday too.
Oh yeah.
That's the 27th, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's going to be fun. But let's go ahead and end it there. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will see you guys on the next one.
You guys have a good night.
You've been listening to the Bathtub Refinishing Podcast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to keep up with the Bathtub Guys on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, or visit BathTubGuys.com for more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, he's got a jet. Yeah.